Next on Worcester News Tonight, new details in the theft of money from a school district. What the suspect says he was using the money for. Plus, the search has narrowed and applications have been revealed for Worcester's next school superintendent. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McCone. Authorities say the man accused of stealing money from the Northborough-Southborough School District used the money for drugs. According to court documents, the district's budget officer may have taken as much as $400,000 over a 3-month period from the school's petty cash account. Our Andy Madison has more on the case.
It was a scheme Christopher Hoey admits in court documents took place over a 3-month period, resulting in hundreds of thousands of dollars missing from the Northborough-Southborough School District. The embezzlement scheme has shocked the community.
It's an astronomical amount of money, really.
Court documents detail Hoey's confession to state police after the superintendent contacted authorities to investigate multiple checks were made out to cash from a school account. Hoey also allegedly admitted he signed all the checks. Earlier this week, Hoey told authorities he estimates he took as much as $400,000 from the account, using the money for drugs.
With drug addictions, some people are good at hiding it, so maybe he was able to get away with it, but I'm just surprised he got away with it for as long as he did, you know?
Hoey was arrested by state police earlier this week and arraigned in Westboro on Thursday. He's been charged with 2 counts of larceny and 1 count of embezzlement by a public official. In a statement, the school superintendent tells Worcester News Tonight, quote, "This is an active investigation. There's no additional comment at this time. All communication should be made to the district attorney's office." Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
Applications have been released in the search for Worcester's next superintendent of schools. The 4 candidates' resumes can be found on worcesterschools.org. Now, the candidates are interim superintendent Marco Rodriguez, South High School principal Maureen Benenda, Norback Ave School principal Carrie Allen, and Doherty High School teacher Carrie Mulcahy. Monday, each candidate will go through the interview process. That will be followed by a public meet and greet Tuesday at Doherty High School, which school committee member Brian O'Connell says will be critical.
It's a chance for each of the individuals to be present and to interview and talk with the public. So people who have particular areas of interest would just like to meet the candidates, talk to the candidates, and one-on-one perhaps see what their particular interests are and raise particular questions that may not have been addressed otherwise. So we really hope as many people as possible who have an interest in education, who really are very concerned about the future and the well-being of the Worcester Public Schools, will come to the meet and greet.
The meet and greet will be at 5 p.m. in the cafeteria at Doherty on Tuesday. A selection will be made on March 14th. A new CEO for Fallon Health. The board of directors naming Richard Burke as president and chief executive officer. Burke has served as interim president and CEO since September when Patrick Hughes retired. Burke has been with Fallon since 1998. He's a graduate of Assumption College and has a master's from Boston College and Cornell. Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Tim Murray lauded the move, saying in part, as one of Worcester's and the region's largest employers, we are pleased to have one of our own leading such an important company. Sturbridge police make an unusual drug bust today. Officers found the drugs in a bag of potato chips. This afternoon, Sturbridge police were alerted to a suspicious vehicle and pulled it over. Inside the car, the officers discovered what you see here: heroin and a narcotic used to treat opioid addiction in a sealed potato chip bag. Both the car's driver and its passenger were arrested. Their names have not yet been released. Worcester police are investigating 2 overnight stabbings in the city. The first happened around 1:30 a.m. on Chandler Street. Police say the man was stabbed at a gas station after getting into a fight with another man. This victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The second stabbing happened about an hour later during a large fight near Water and Harrison Streets in Worcester. A 21-year-old man was stabbed in the head and back. His injuries are also not considered life-threatening. Police are looking for suspects in both stabbings. They don't think they are related. Well, a car slams into a building earlier today on Southbridge Street in Auburn. The fire department says a possible car malfunction may have caused this sedan to go off the road. A pillar on the building was knocked out of place, but there was no structural damage. The fire department says there were no injuries. Principal of West Tatnick School in Worcester pulled the fire alarm earlier today after smelling smoke in the school. Students and staff were evacuated late this morning. The district fire chief says a heating unit in the school began to overheat, sending smoke through the ventilation system into the cafeteria area. No students or firefighters were injured.
Took us a little while to discover where the motor was burnt out, but we found that, and everything should be back to normal.
Students returned back into the school just in time for lunch. Well, Super Tuesday kicked off the political battlefield of this year's election, and candidates know a lot about you before you ever step foot in the voting booth. Mark Barger explains the technology driving these campaigns behind the scenes.
Wow, this is some crowd.
Presidential hopefuls have been hot on the campaign trail to sway the 13 million Americans who came out for Super Tuesday.
The thing that the winning campaigns had in common was their use of big data and social media to drive activity.
Posts from candidates that might seem off the cuff are often deliberate, targeted messages crafted to go viral.
Particularly Donald Trump. He has people who are crafting messages that are really honed in on what his audience wants and more likely to make people retweet them.
Silly swag is another way to get shares, like a Grillery Clinton spatula or Ted Cruz's. Campaigns also use social media to humanize the candidates and make them relatable.
We saw this come out in Hillary Clinton's Snapchat, her use of Instagram, things that really make her seem like a person and not just a stiff robotic candidate.
Marketing teams formulate their message using very specific information bought from big data brokers.
Most voters have no idea what type of information is being sold about them. And to the best of my knowledge, there really isn't a way of opting out.
Mining and messaging will only get more intense as the election plays out.
Everything you put out there, if it's public, it's being scraped and someone is looking at it, even if that someone is a robot.
So your voice is being heard well before Election Day.
Well, this is going to be a busy weekend for the presidential candidates of both parties. 5 states and Puerto Rico choose on Saturday and Sunday, followed by another 4 on Tuesday. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are hoping to expand on their already commanding delegate leads. Brian Moore reports one of these races could be on the verge of a dramatic turn.
Breathe,
Lion Ted.
breathe. You can do it. You can breathe.
Picking up where he left off on the debate stage,
Whether it's Little Marco or Lion Ted,
Donald Trump assaulted and insulted his Republican rivals in Michigan, one of 9 states on the line between now and Tuesday.
if you get laid off on Tuesday, I still want you voting. I'll get you a new job. Don't worry about it.
While former nominee Mitt Romney is giving voice to the establishment movement to dump Trump at any cost, Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz pledged during the debate they'd support the billionaire if he's nominated.
I'll support the Republican nominee.
Yes, because I gave my word that I would.
They took another step back today, saying they're not angling for a convention floor fight.
No, look, my strategy is vote for me in Florida, but vote for me everywhere else, too.
And if the Washington dealmakers tried to steal the nomination from the people, I think it would be a disaster.
John Kasich says he'll support Trump too, but a brokered convention may be his last best hope. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton turned her attention to Michigan and its 147 delegates. Bernie Sanders took aim at an even bigger prize, Illinois, which votes March 15th.
Democracy is not about billionaires buying elections.
2 races still up for grabs, but that could all change in the next 2 weeks. Clinton and Sanders face off in their next debate Sunday in Flint, Michigan. In Washington, I'm Brian.